The whole idea of the architectural design process is an artistic process of how we question the purpose of design. If we crystallize the process of inquiry broadly, there is a simple framework of 5 C's. The first C will be the idea of context. Here we use our Tampines Hub in the discussion of this subject. The idea is to identify how our building works as a heart in terms of the larger community setting, and this allows us to develop our unique sense and sensibility towards surrounding environments, neighborhoods, to appreciate the key dynamics of how it can start to operate as an active component within the surrounding fabric. The second C is capacity. We use the example of Jardin, a residential project. Capacity is really understanding density, a subject that is very appropriate, especially in the context of land-scarce Singapore. What comes with this idea of compactness must be the study of livability, of how our environment, though dense, can continue to be inspiring. The third C is connectivity. Connectivity in this case refers to how, in terms of usage and functionality, there's a programmatic dimension that talks about how a space relates to another, making the place physically more accessible and inclusive to create a seamless, experiential kind of landscape. The fourth C is about community. This concept embodies the notion of what we spoke about in terms of looking at the target user group. And it opens up a whole discussion of how thresholds can be designed in order for us to design more participatory and interactive environment. This is fundamentally to do with the core human-centric dimension of architecture. The fifth and final C is the aspects of climate. Climate here touches on the functional responses to our unique tropical climate and setting. This is really looking at how building works to provide shade and shelter against elements. In addition, climate also touches on the larger concept of resource and energy consumption. So instead of the typical passive role of just consuming energy, buildings can be designed to harness renewable sources, for example, solar power, and turn it into something that is sustainable and highly productive. Going back to the larger subject of process discussion, it's really to encourage us not to immediately accept certain given norms or answer. And this comes with the questioning and the true understanding of the root of how architecture should be formulated. This opens up a whole array of possibilities and with certain rigor allow us to develop what will probably be the most, I won't say right, but most meaningful kind of answer towards the question that we are asking.